So if you think about generative AI, the Oxford Dictionary remains that much, right? So you will be using the words from the same things or the construct of a sentence similarly. So does that make a particular language that is extracted out of that really plagiarism or play of words or generating a creativity? Where do you think that line gets drawn, right? So that's the context.
No, absolutely. See, right now, today, you can still instruct this model to write like Shakespeare.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
I've tried that, yeah.
Yeah, so it will write. For example, tomorrow, if I want this model write like Sanjay, if I start writing, that's where you will be worried. So all those guardrails have to evolve. It is not there in place yet. For those guardrails, when we say guardrails, these guardrails will make sure these language models are responsive enough not to replicate content, not to copy an artist style, and not to write like specific artist. So has to happen.
Now, when it comes to the local language, so one of the things that happened in the first day that I just spoke about is that one gentleman actually took out Pampa's Halegannada based a few lines, which are amazing. But then even me being by the way, very funny serendipity, it was not planned that way. We are missing a Malayali gentleman out here. So surprisingly, that Dr. Buddha Chandrashekhar is from Andhra, he is from Tamil Nadu, and we both are Kannadigas. So being a Book Brahma South Indian, we ended up purely South Indian that way. So coming back to that, what happened is that phrase that got translated or extracted or summarized in one of the very well-known LLMs, it was naturally not up there, right? So everybody was just beating that up, saying that, okay, it was such a bad language, bad conversion and all that. So Senthil, if in case in your background of having done that for 30 years and now doing it with generative AI, what do you think are the predominantly the impact areas? What are the still long ways and all that part of it, right? So what do you think are?
Thanks, Sanjay. I would like to continue with something. The idea of generation from the So when you are talking about generative AI, we have to understand a couple of things. The idea of generation in generative AI is completely from computer science background. In literature, what we are speaking is all about creation. That generation and creation are not the same thing. Sometimes we can think about that machine creates something in a very, very generic sense, not in the literary sense. So in literature, when we speak about creation, we speak about your personal creation, human creativity. The human creative part of the writer or the creator, which is something different from generation of some text, of some images, of some sounds or voices of AI. So we have to be very careful when we are using the words generation and creation when we are talking about AI and literature. So artificial intelligence is built on the existing literature of the world, we can say, for the sake of understanding or to give you a perspective. It is built on the text which is already available. So when it creates something or it generates something, that creation or generation is purely mechanical. But it can play with words, it can mimic from other styles, it can even write a poem similar to Shakespeare's poem. But these are all not plagiarism. Basically, it's coming from the repository of the human creativity. So you simply share your task to the machine. So machine can do. It certainly can even create poetry, create short stories, create novel, even transfer a novel into feature film script. It can do everything. But that is not going to be the big problem in my sense. Still, your love story can be written only by you, because it comes from your experience. It comes from your experience. ChatGPT or AI can help you to write the novel or write the story or even write the news, whatever. Maybe it helps you to do the copy editing, or you can do some kind of brainstorming with the ChatGPT to create some settings. It can do everything, but your experience or your vision or your way of seeing something which turns into a novel or a short story or a poem is not going to be written by AI. So this is the single most important point we have to demarcate. So when we are getting upset when ChatGPT creates a poetry or writes something on its own, we are upset. It's naturally the first response from the human being is that we are creating our own Frankenstein. It's not like that. That's not the AI is not meant for it. It can help you. It can even write poems. It can even write short stories, novel, whatever. It's all about how you prompt AI to do so. But everything is different. Probably I can say we are witnessing an emergence of a new genre of literature called AI literature. It can be something new, like science fiction. It can be something new, but science fiction again the human creativity, but AI literature is something new. Probably we are seeing that development, but that is not going to, definitely that's not going to change any of our creativity. Probably we will use it or abuse it, misuse it, that is completely different. So now comes to the language point of view. Artificial intelligence is based on only one thing, data. So what happened with the Hole Kannada script? I had similar experience few years back in a Tamil conference. A Tamil Pandit, he complained that, he said, I typed a Tirukural, 2 lines stanza, Tirukural into Google Translate, then translated it into English. The translation is not good. That's not the problem. Then I took the English translation, then I did the reverse. I put the English translation and I translated to Tamil, but the original Tirukural didn't come. This is the complaint. If original Tirukural comes back, then that's the problem. It shouldn't come actually. The problem is, this is our expectation. We are thinking AI as a magic. But I said, suppose if you train the model with some 100,000 Tirukurals, probably it can do a good translation. It all depends upon data, then there are so many other things. But the primary source is data. Many people are talking about the style of our writing, the dialects. So even now we are talking about that India has more than 1,000 languages. There are few thousand dialects in Kannada, in Tamil. You can see there are so many dialects, how to translate. So when we started our business, ILSA, which is basically a platform for writing, translation and design, the very first order we got is a novel in Tamil written in completely South Tamil Nadu dialect. Every sentence has an idiom or as a phrase. You cannot find that even in dictionary. So the problem is again how to do that, how computer can understand, how AI can understand. Say it's all about data. Suppose if I feed huge data of that particular dialect, certainly it can. So it is not that AI is something else. We are not talking to some other machine. This is our data. All the algorithms are created by human being. What has happened in between is, earlier we don't have sufficient computing power or sufficient technology advance to crunch all the data. Today we have. This data is there for every, but the availability of the data, how sufficient it is to create something else, all these things are very, very important. 10 years back, when we are working with the companies like Microsoft, when they develop the translation products and all, the top languages in machine translation is only German, Japanese, Chinese, Spanish and all. Today, they are around 3 or 4 years back, it crossed some 60-70 languages. Now today it crossed already 200. There is a project from Meta. The name of the project is No Language Left Behind. That's the name of the project. Because they already have all the languages through your WhatsApp. So certainly no language would be left behind. They want the voice domination. So what I am saying that more and more data collected for every dialect, every language. I think the LLM or the translation engine can speak all those things. Probably it will understand even the old story or the dialect-based literature and all. So we can see this from completely different background. But I'm a publisher also. I'm also a writer, and I'm also running a AI company. Our company is built on our some 20 years of experience in translation. I am also a publisher and writer, so I understand the pains. I understand the problems that we are facing in the industry. So seeing from both perspectives, I can say AI can be useful, but it will never replace human creativity.
Thank you, thank you. So, yeah, one of the things that he mentioned that India has thousands of languages. So when one of my European friends we were having conversations, I was just referring to some document that I had seen that just as a passing remark, I made a comment saying that, okay, you know what, India has more than 1,700 languages. His jaw dropped. Today, when we were having lunch up there, I just happened to mention that because in the context of the generative AI, and Dr. Buddha had a completely different perspective. He said that only few 100 kilometers in the northeast has more than 2,000 languages. So Dr. Buddha, you have been involved in this extensive complexity of languages as such. What I want to understand is that how do you comprehend something like this and make it into a mission that can make every single Indian collaborate or talk to every other Indian without this language barrier? At least then we can say definitely for sure that Tamils won't protest on Hindi, because anyway I can just hear your Hindi and respond back in Tamil and you'll still hear Hindi from me, right? Yeah, over to you.
Yeah, thank you for having me here, and I endorse what other speakers spoke. But one very interesting thing what I see from a government of India point of view is little different. Do you know why we have unemployment in our country? Do you think Indians are less brainish? No. The reason is language barrier. So 85% Indians don't understand this official language called English and Hindi. So that's where the gap started. So let us assume, we as a government of India, we send one notice to Tamil Nadu government or to Karnataka government. In what language? Either we will send it in English or Hindi. And the officer sits here in Karnataka and Tamil Nadu, they are not able to understand what it is. So the gap started from there. Even from the education point of view, because if you see the education, the degree what we have completely has no value, because even though I'm from the Ministry of Education, I don't want to say that. But the matter of the fact is, your degree is nothing but rattamaro. You know what is rattamaro, right? Mug up. You mug up everything and just Xerox copy it and print it, right? And you will receive a degree. What is the value of that degree if you don't have skills? The minute if you want to acquire a skill, it is very important to have that content in your local language. As I said, I came from Andhra Pradesh, so my native place is Vishakhapatnam, and very near there is a village called Srikakulam. I don't know how many of you know it. It's a wonderful people. But the problem here is they don't understand even 1% of the English literature or any other language other than Telugu. And most of them can't even write. What you will do? Most of the people can't read. What you will do? That's a challenge what we have taken. As a government of India, we thought, first we have a couple of other initiatives, but when I joined in 2020, I'm a technologist, worked for Microsoft in US and started my own startups in various countries. And when I came back and joined with government of India, the first thing what I checked, is there any collaboration between industry and academia? That's the first question I have in my mind. The second question I have in my mind is there any collaboration between the different languages of our country in order to reduce the 10% of employment of our country, period. I think you don't need to create wonders in this country. Only two things is very important. One is industry, academia collaboration. The second one is collaboration between various languages of our country. Imagine local for local. I will tell you one example. Sir, I've been to London for one client meeting. So I'm feeling little hungry. I went to 7-Eleven shop opposite and I bought a cashew nut packet. That's a shock in my life, Sanjay ji. It has written "Make in China." Okay, So I bought it anyway, 7-Eleven shop, I just ate. It surprised me that cashew is from one of the very small remote village called Palasa, which is very near to Vijayanagar. Then I did a reverse engineering of the entire supply management. So from where they sourced, they sourced from India, they just polished it and they put it in package and they sold it to the entire world. Don't you think we can do if we remove the language barrier? I think, this language barrier became a biggest hurdle for us. So that's where Government of India, Minister of Education, we worked almost for 1.5 years and created a wonderful tool called Anuvadini. What it does, very simple, nothing rocket science. It allows you to create a content, because as I endorse what both of them said, one is the humans are the one who creates a content. They are the one who is the source of creation. Because so many beings are there in the world, but humans are the best of the best because they have something called logical thinking, creative thinking in their mind, right? So this creative thinking is the one which we created so many literature. I mean, if you go to Tamil Nadu or in Karnataka, in Andhra Pradesh, you see extraordinary writings on the walls also. I mean, some language you can't even decode it. That kind of extraordinary languages, not only in the linguistic form, in a pictorial form also. Have you seen Nagabandha anytime? If you try it, that is the best encryption methodology in the world even today. You can't even break it. You just go back and Google it or check it in YouTube. You will see so many ties inside that Naga, so that you will see only the Naga this thing, right? But you see so many ties, X and Y's, twist and twist and twist and twist. If you put it a line to it, that is one of the best encryption system in the world. So we are the one who has this everything in your brain, and your right and left brain are connected. We are the best of the best human beings in the world. The only problem is our language barrier, because we have a beautiful vernacular language in the world, and we have extraordinary language. The matter of the fact is the problem here is every 5 kilometers our dialect changes, and every 10 to 15 kilometers our language changes. If you go to northeast, every 7 kilometers the language is changing. Every tribe has their own language. So how we will solve it? The only solution is neutralization. So what we did recently, we created language neutralization software. Example, recently we had one very big meeting of 150 country visitors, authors, experts came in for one accreditation meeting. So my minister said, I'm not able to understand what this Chinese guy, he's speaking English. But his Chinese English, we are not able to understand. Someone speaking a Spanish English, someone speaking Malayalam, different kind of a dialects. They are not able to understand us, we are not able to, even though everyone is speaking English. So what is the solution? So we have created a language neutralization software. It simply neutralizes, it understands every dialect and every accent. It neutralization and gives you into your own Indian, English, simple. For American, he can simply select American English and he can hear as well as he can read. So I think this is the exact thing what we need to do for our country. Because the major problem for a local or vocal are the GDP. Why we are in a third place? Why not in a first place? Just because of this one language barrier. The minute we remove it, we will become a number one in the GDP level. So what we started doing it, now we are doing it in a POC. You all know WhatsApp, right? So we are creating an Indianized version of WhatsApp. So what happens is, if I register as a Telugu speaker and sir registered as a Kannada and sir registered as Tamil, he speaks in Tamil, I will understand that video as well as the audio as well as the image, content, everything in Telugu, and if I speak in Telugu, you all will understand in your own language. So that's, at the same time, how we can create a best of the best super fast systems. I believe in chutki. Chutki means, that the minute, I don't know what you call it in Kannada, chutki, right? So the minute you do chutki, right, chitika. In Telugu we say chitika. I don't know. My wife is Kannadiga, but I never learned Kannada. But basically, the minute you do like this, right, it must work. For how many people? That's again a big problem, because we have 1.4 billion. And everyone is using, these communication systems. I think what technology helped us to create a better communicating systems. I strongly believe that no one can defeat human, but we need to make sure we need to have a thought process that, they are our assistants. Example, long back if you see in MS Word, there is something called clip. Do you all remember? Clip. Clippy. It's an assistant. It does the same thing what the current, it used to, do the similar thing what generative AI is doing. I was always wondering, what is this bloody generative AI? The clip is already there, from so many years. The only fundamental difference, what I see is it started mimicking the humans. But let me tell you one thing very clearly. We have created one wonderful thing called Chutki. We named it as Chutki. It's a creator. You can go and write your own book. So when you start writing, instantly translate that into any language you want. Okay, so when I was writing, I have written some 4 to 5 books, but then I realized what is a fundamental difference. See, there is a fundamental difference of a human and a machine. The human is a creative being, but the machine is a creative analyzer and distributor. It's not a creative being. What happens, as Sir said, it collects all the information, it tries to reinterpret and give you something, but it can't create something new. Can you ask a ChatGPT saying that, please write a unique story which never ever existed? It can't. It will just, do all mix masala of how we do create charu, what we call it in sambar, in Tamil Nadu, right? It mixes everything and it creates and gives something back to you. So the transponders what basically works on the background, right? It all relies on the data what we are training to these models. So when we started training, what I realized is, it basically works in a little craziest way. But these neural networks basically has a linkage, like similarly like our brain. But the beauty of humans is, our left and right brain interconnects. So we can do so many things which machines can't do. So machine only can mimic or copy and Xerox it and take things forward. So don't worry on the creation side, but it helps you a lot. That's what I realized. When you want to summarize your book. Example, someone wrote recently, said, do you remember our engineering book used to be this book, this big? Someone used to use it as like a pillow. So this big. Sir, do you still remember? Oh my God, that black color, it used to be this big. So I still remember that book. So then I realized, can I summarize this? See, before I want to go for an examination, I want to summarize this book so that I can quickly grasp all the topics within an hour time. Do you see? Technology helps. Imagine, now we have created one more thing, maybe I would like to show to all of you, that imagine you have a ICSE book or CBSE book or an engineering book. We are creating a unique question and answers out of it. So now what happens every time if a teacher wants to, example Sanjay ji is a teacher, he wants to give unique questions to all of us. All he needs to do is just go to Anuvadini and question and answer creator and put this book there. What it does, every time it generates a unique question for you. And he will start distributing. Now no one can copy others. See, it solves this NEET problem, this problem, that problem, what all problems we have because every time it generates a unique question. Do you see the technology is helping us, right? Because it is basically helping us in one way so that we can take these things forward. So having said that, what I see is that I think we have no other choice living with it. So that's a point number 1. Point number 2, unless until you think it is an assistant, it will be a master. So I think, we need to have that thought process carry forward saying that it is our assistant, not a master. Because recently, Sir said, just now, but I just want to clarify. Yesterday we went to Rajbhasha Department of Government of India. So we were demonstrating our Anuvadini tools. The madam said, see, I will give you one document with 100 pages, XYZ, so many things in that. Photographs, this, that. Translate it to Hindi. Then download the translated version and translate that back to English. I want above 95%, same like a Xerox copy. Trust me, you just try it out, Bujji, in Anuvadini. You will get shocked. Once you translate into other language, you download that as a Word document and retranslate back to the original source language. It will almost above 95 to 98% same. So what I'm trying to say is, instead of getting scared, imagine what I explained there. I said, ma'am, if I give you the same book to your translator and asked him to translate this in next 10 to 15 minutes because your minister wants it, he can't do it. So that's where the Buddhi comes into picture. It is very small but powerful. Recent Kalki, there is a Buddhi, right? That's a robot, basically. So we named it as a Buddhi. So basically what it does, immediately, instantly it translates and gives you the hundreds of pages in front of you with the same format in different language. And now you, as a owner of that document, you used assistant Buddhi and translated it, and now you have a choice. You will quickly run through and do small corrections and submit that document. So speed is one thing, very important. Efficiency, accuracy. Sometimes what happens, we have so many things to do as a human, right? So the machine can be an assistant and can serve all this kind of automation task. So what I see is the multiple AI agents. That's where the future is all about. Because as of now, we are in a very, very basic fundamental stage where we are using one particular agent for one particular task. I think in future we will try to create, publish, validate, then create a cover page, create a blob, create a feedback, create a summarization. Do you see all these are agents? You can interconnect all these agents and does this work, and imagine only one language. Now you want to increase your sales. This agent, AI agent will help you publish the same book in multiple languages. So don't you think your income will increase or decrease? See, there is a lot of advantage. I think we need to see how we can utilize these technologies and how we can take it forward, because recently we created one framework called Click framework. What is Click? Click is a framework used by a language called Santhali language. It's a tribal language spoken by Honorable President. So she felt so happy, sir, because no one in the world has that. So we not only created a translation, text translation, we have created ASR out of it. The voice generation. So she felt so happy, and she gave one small paragraph now, which is going to get published very soon because of the parliament session. We just waiting for her go ahead. So what I'm trying to say is, imagine now you have a Click, that framework, which is used by more than 60 to 70 lakh tribals in our country. And they have a text as well as they have a voice generation. Don't you see the advantage? So this is where I would like to share.
Yeah, Doctor, you said a couple of things very nicely, right? So, so I'm from Dharwad, and which is the northern part of Karnataka, and Bangalore, Kannada is completely different, right? So, and even if I want to speak politely, people out here get offended whether I am actually speaking politely at all, right? So that's why I try my mashed up Bangalorean Kannada, right? So one of the major problems that I foresee is the current preparation of the frameworks in these hyper-localized contexts. For example, you spoke about my book being translated into Kannada and Marathi. And English came out very, very quickly. I wrote it, of course, I can still say that I did not use generative AI because it was pre-released, pre-Gen AI. But then the translation took a very long time because in English it was much easier because it was naturalized or simple, straightforward. But when I translated it into Kannada, I had to make it hyper-localized. For example, a person from South Canara would be speaking with the Maraire in between, right? So how will you bring those kinds of things? Sandeep, the question to you is, with a global network being there into OpenAI, Microsoft OpenAI, and your SLMs and all that are come. SLMs are the chota packets of the LLMs, right? All these OpenAI, Gemini, Anthropic, all these are called as large language models, wherein SLMs are the ones which people like all these newer mobile phones today are saying that AI inside, they have the SLMs packed into it. So what do you think is the challenge that you foresee, and what do you think are the opportunities that you see for this kind of market that exists? The same question will be for you also later on, because he will be talking global and you will be talking local. And now that we have very less amount of time, so if you could just brief it.
Yeah, wonderful. So I'll start with an analogy. Now, if you look at the AI of the past, that is equivalent to a person going to university doing PhD in one subject, mathematics alone. That's AI. Generative AI, the same person going to university doing PhD in every subject on the planet multiple times. That's a knowledge this model possesses. Now it's an expert already. right? So when you ask a question to ChatGPT and response comes, it's called zero-shot learning. It's not learning, it's responding to you. To address this problem, these models are intelligent already. You go in the path of what's called few shot learners. They know Kannada for sure. You can tell him, by the way, in Karnataka, there are 20 different variants. I'll show you examples of these. That's all, you don't have to train at all. They are steerable. They will learn from smaller examples. That's the future. So if you go the same route of how these language models are built, that means you need to probably have, again, 1 million lines of minimum, 1 million minutes of minimum content for you to basically train your large model. No, that's not the case. The future would be you show for this already done, already intelligent, super intelligent brain that's there, of course AI, show evidence of variations. It will reflect.
Sorry to interject. So we have one of the national awardee winner filmmaker amongst us, Abhaya. If Abhaya starts saying that okay, there are 10 people and 10 characters and each one speaks a different language or a different dialect, and can you please generate me a script? Do you think that that is going to be possible in near future, or already is possible, or we don't think that is going to be possible? What do you think?
So 50% is practically possible right now if you show variations of the language.
So I can say that okay, he speaks like this, he speaks like this, and
so 4 of us, all of us, he gave an example of people speaking different languages. English being spoken by a person from China and India and Germany, Spain, etc. They speak differently, but language is the same vocabulary, should be same pronunciation. So these models are steerable. You can just have to show evidence of these spoken languages. They will instantaneously. That's why they're called few shot learners. Yeah, I'll keep it that way. It's in interest of time.
sure. Thank
May I
you.
ask a brief question?
Yeah, I just want to add to imagine its language is like a tree. Okay, all these different dialects or accents are like branches. So basically, all you need to do is the branch grows, right? So similarly, you need to train the model, but the root is same. So that is where the neutralization software, when we created in a similar sense. Okay, so basically everyone is speaking English only. So everyone is speaking Kannada here. Okay, everyone is speaking Tamil, everyone is speaking Telugu, but in different styles, different essence, right? So that is what we train. I think it's not a rocket science, to be very frank. I mean, to be very frank, creating a large learning, small learning model is also not a rocket science. But the data, right? What data you are going to train the model is very, very important, because the minute you pick something from the internet and start training, right? Then it will take another 1.5 years to retrain your model. I think you need to be very careful from where you are picking the data and what kind of a quality it has and what efficiency it has, and is it really authenticated data? I think that's where the important ingredient in place.
Nice. Yeah, same thing. The same extension from Dr.
Yeah.
Buddha, right? You also would have faced the same kind of problem, right? So what I said about Dharwad Kannada versus Bangalore Kannada, I know that Madras and Chennai Kannada is Tamil is being looked down upon by all these Coimbatore and all these central Tamils, right? So have you faced, when you are publishing such kind of content, especially using Gen AI, that no, this is crap, this is not acceptable, something of that sort?
Undoubtedly, this is one of the serious issue for our languages, not only for our languages, for any other languages in the world. But I am thinking in different way. If you just check the trajectory of AI, where it goes to, it will very soon pass these dialects, and very soon you will be having even personalized AI. It understands your voice, it understands your way of writing something, it will understand your way of translating also. Suppose if you translate, if you are a translator translating some fiction or non-fiction, it will learn from your translation, the words you use, the phrases you use, or the style you used. For example, if you are translating a novel, suppose, this is an imaginary thing. You are using a particular style of writing for the normal text and particular style of writing for the dialects. In the novels, it can even learn. So the future lies not in the generic AI. The future lies in personalized AI. So it's all about the time. What is really needed is companies like us needs to work out and give you the applications to use it. The core technology or core research has already taken care of everything. So not only that you can use, for example, Bangalore, Canada or Dharwad, Canada, you can even revive the Hole Kannada. Hale Kannada, right? Sorry, I'm sorry for that. So even the medieval Kannada, it's possible. So when I am saying about the data, the word data has so many meanings. In a very simple thing, each and every piece of data has so many attributes to it. If it is a word, the meaning, the style, or the way you utter, or the number of meanings you put it in the particular thing, the age of that word, or the context of the word, everything can be stored in a word. So how do you get everything is the major thing. For Indian languages, I believe, not only for Indian languages, for all the languages, I would like to really emphasize this point. I am also working on the Indian languages from the different perspectives. I am one of the people in India working for the rights and rights of Indian languages in general, political or administrative, business, technology and everything. One of the major problem for all of our languages, including dialects, is recording the data. We do not have the records of so many languages. At least now we have an opportunity to record all the data of a particular language before they become extinct, at least. In Northeast India or in Central Indian forest or in the coastal area or anywhere, the dialects, the way of spoken languages, everything. At least now we came to a situation that we can record all those things, preserve them, not only preserve them, you can also revive it or make it much bigger sense. So time is not far away that you'll be having all kind of dialects and languages properly encoded in any of the LLMs or SLMs or whatever AI name in future we are going to call it. It's quite possible.
Nice. That is a perfect part of it. So couple of things. Of course, we have a couple of minutes. So ultimately, just to before I open it up, if we can extend it for Q&A. 5 minutes. He says for Q&A. Just to concisely say this after this. Understand that whether it is the regular, the predictive AI as well as the generative AI, it's nothing but a tool, right? So it is a technology advancement. Today nobody uses pager. Nobody shows off that I have a beautiful pager that is working because it doesn't make any sense, right? We have much better tools to be used. So why are you going back into the technology? That's what it is. And use the right tool for the right place as well. Somebody was trying to show off in one of the colleges and they were like telling me, sir, see that I'm trying to search in ChatGPT who is Sanjay Koppikar. Then it actually mixed Sanjay Dutt and Isha Koppikar and it started writing itself. So I said exactly. Understand, it is generative AI. Its job is to be creative and generative based on whatever it has. For finding out who is Sanjay Koppikar, go to Google. Use the right tool to find out. Right? So that's the construct, right? So you should remember what to use when. And where do you want to use for what purposes, right? So that is what we all vehemently agreed. I hope we had at least one person amongst us who vehemently disagreed and opposed us. But then this was a fantastic thing. So I think he wanted to ask a question. Yes, please.
So I have a question each to Mr. Sanjay and Mr.
Yeah, but we have only 5 minutes, so it can be 30-second
short.
answer for all.
So my question to Sanjay, you is that how are you avoiding the incest of AI? As in, there's already a lot of content on Reddit, on Quora, on company conferences, wikis that are Gen AI generated, right? The say ChatGPT version 5, are you ensuring that it doesn't learn from such content from either its own previous versions or from Llama? So that's the question to you. And to you, Mr. Senthil, can we confidently say that, since this is a literature festival, literature is at no risk from AI because it might fall in the category of these, exquisite handlooms or handmade cookie sort of a category, right? Where people want human-made content. When if it's literature, and that Gen AI will only threaten the commoditized, say, transport department notification.
I think we
education.
addressed that portion of the question because see, he
Yeah,
said that.
few minutes, yeah.
So he said that the creativity, a newer content has to be by human. For example, he assured me that I will have a job because AI will not create the PJ like what I do, right? So we all have that. So the regular already cracked PJs, it will might recreate. Okay, so that's the part. Sandeep.
Sure. So I think thanks to models like GPT-4, right, large language models, you are able to create fresh content, creative content. The future would be, the line of thinking is textbooks are all you need. That means if you have textbook quality data, which is what LLMs are able to create today, right? You can able to create models to do everything that you want in the creative field. What does it really mean? That means you don't need so much of data going forward. You don't need to go to open web. The general intelligence has been built right now. You don't need any further data for it to become more intelligent. It has to, right now the time is to kind of rough edges, right? So textbooks all need is the design thinking going forward.
So you mean to say
Yeah.
that
I will
the
answer to
extinct
you.
language also can be recreated. That one person was in the world, some one only unique one person who speak in that language. He was the only person. Now he is dead. That language can be created if you have got a model of his old language.
Yeah.
Dialect.
If you have a sample of that person, the way that person spoke and wrote, you can instruct the model. It's all instructions, by the way. See, there's training has a new meaning in the new world. It's about instructing. It's called machine teaching. You teach the machine. Hey, you know what? This is how this person spoke. Can you replicate that? It's all instruction. That means it's all natural level instructions. That's the way forward. You don't need to train. The training has a new meaning in the modern world. Training is done. It's intelligent.
Yeah, whatever that you have seen today is only 2-year-old baby. Whatever question answers that you are getting today is only 2-year-old baby. So if you are exposing it to Pampa and all that, please train that 2-year-old baby to Pampa, and it will create a new construct also for you. So that's the way.
No, to give you another perspective to your question, there is no guarantee that nobody can give, right? Whether AI can do this or not, nobody can give. But please understand, AI is not the evolutionary theory. It is not the evolution of human beings. It is still a machine. That's why I'm saying your literature, if it is coming from your own experience, imagination, perspective, purpose and everything, how can not just forget AI? Even the other person cannot do it, right? Another human being cannot do this. A particular poet version or particular novelist story, that narration cannot be done even by other person. So where it lies, all the words are same. Whether it is written by a noble laureate or a normal writer, all the words are same. They are all in the dictionary. Doesn't mean that everybody can write. Your writer's or creator's work is coming from various factors from the creator. This cannot be duplicated by, not even by another human being. So in that case, how can AI can do it? So literature, not only literature, anything original is safe. Anything which is not original probably is not safe.
I think
One last question on behalf of rural Karnataka or rural India, I don't know. I am a development media, multimedia professional, closely working with 250 villages in Bangalore rural, Hoskote, Whitefield, Attara. Okay, using all guidelines prescribed by United Nations, how to educate rural or intellectually vulnerable communities. I mean, whether it is urban or rural, that is secondary. So, day to day, our routine work itself is dealing with the language and disseminating knowledge into vulnerable intellectual community or whatever. How to take it forward? This is one thing. And like ChatGPT, latest Gemini, AI, all these things are there. And as you all know, our rural communities are well versed in social sciences than our STEM or other regular pure science. That is also one challenge we are facing. And I don't think this AI or new technology is only for we people. And secondly, Mr. Senthil was talking about the language, preserving language and the technology. don't you think our language dealing authorities, for example, in Karnataka we have Kannada Development Abhiruddhi or whatever authority. So even there also we need to educate those people and the concerned minister to take this new technology, how to preserve and how to provide job
Yes.
opportunities.
So yeah, actually Dr. Buddha is
Yes.
absolute representation of
Yes.
that. He already explained with an example that our president's language, which is spoken by very small sect of people, also is being recreated and all that, right? So all these segments would be slowly and surely be addressed
I just
as the
want to
demand.
add, sir.
Yeah,
Ma'am,
because we are
recently-
actually out of time, so he's come and.
Just
Please,
take one
I
more
really
word.
need some explanation from you.
Ma'am, recently we digitized the data of Parliament of India. So the very strange, unique challenge what we faced is each document, in each page we have 8 to 9 Indian languages. Some language we even don't know or doesn't exist as of today. So what we did was we have created an advanced Indian-based optical character recognition, because there is something called Tenserat, which is very popular for the foreign language, but it doesn't work for Indian languages. So we have created a very advanced version and started digitizing. So first step is to digitize, the existing one. Example, we have Talapatra Gandhas, right? We need to digitize that. So then slowly we started understanding that so many people are sending handwritten applications to Prime Minister office. So they asked, can you do something? So now we have created a solution which is not that efficient, but at least someone sending a letter from in Kannada or Tamil or Telugu, Prime Minister office can put it in Anuvadini and they are basically taking that in English or Hindi. So it is not that efficient, but at least it has some kind of a efficiency, like 60 to 70%. They can understand what is that the other person is trying to say. So this is again another way of doing it. The third very important thing what we created is a web forms in Indian languages. Because see what is happening, example, if I ask to open a bank account in a small remote village area in Karnataka, how they will open, because the form itself is in English. So there we have created a web form which basically, if you are an uneducated person, you can't read or write, still you can fill the form using this Anuvadini web-based web form application. I think Government of India is also working on that, because we understood this is a gap which we must fulfill in order to make it sabka sa sabka vikas, because in order to have an equal development for everyone, it is very important. The technology plays a major role and we are working towards it.
Facing all the challenges.
Yes.
Yeah, of course, challenges are there everywhere in our country, but still we are moving forward, and we will make sure that we will give the best of the best.
Yes, only one word. Just one word. Every language community today has the responsibility to talk to the government, state or central, to create language policies for the era of AI. That's very important. From data collection, from curation, creating all the features and everything, this is very important thing, as important as any other things in the society. So Kannada Development Authority must do it. In Tamil Nadu, we are working with Tamil Nadu government to formulate Tamil AI policy. They are going to release very soon. So we have to do it.